Shishi Guru Garanga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki jai. What is it? Radha Shishi Gaur Radha Nayananath Ju ki jai. Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashutara Shita Shishimar Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Gurudev ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki jai. Nityalila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Shila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nityalila Pravishta Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nityalila Pravishta Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Śrīpāda Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shishimad Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Tadiya Shubha, what do you say, Shatabdi Vyāsa-pūjā Maha Mahotsav ki jai. Jai. Oh, well, that's the Adivas Titi, the Adivas of his 100th appearance day ki jai. Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Dayit Madhav Goswami Mahārāja ki jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Swaparshad Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopala Padadasa Raghunath Shar Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namachay Shila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gora Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. The Adivas Titi of Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja's Vyāsa-pūjā ki jai. And the Adivas Titi of Shri Ram Navami Titi ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams everybody. Hari Bo. Rukmini Didi. Nri Hari Prabhu. Bhavatarani Mataji. Satya Mataji. Vidya Lalasa Didi. Kishore Prabhu, and I see there are a bunch of other devotees on YouTube and Facebook, but I can't see your name unless you write a comment. So, but Dandavat pranams, everybody. So we have, we're taking a 3-day break from our Chaitanya Bhagavat readings to read the glories and the teachings of Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shishimad Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja, whose 100th Vyāsa-pūjā 100th appearance day is tomorrow. So before we begin, I'd like to we can go through the Mangala Charan. We'll recite his pranam mantras, and then Rukmini Didi, she will share a little bio of him so that we can know, just to get a little idea of who this personality, just very general idea of who this personality is. And then afterwards, the program's free. There's so much that we could read. We can read, anyways, I'm gonna just stop talking. Let's do the Mangala Charan. All right, let me share my screen. Okay. I didn't get around to preparing this nicely, so we'll just have to use this for now, but tomorrow I'll make something nicer. Like, yeah, I'll make the text bigger, put in diacritics and all that. All right, so so here's the pranam mantra. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Shri Gaura Priyamurtaye Srimate Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Namine. I pay my respectful obeisances unto Om Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. who is the loving personified, of Sri Gaurasundar. He is completely enlightened by his bhajan sampad, his wealth of bhajan, whose ornaments are his bhajan, and whose senses and speech are under his control. Mayavara vikhandanam gururvanyanu paschadeshopadeshakam prasanna vadanam sada. I bow down unto the lotus feet of one who condemns the false scriptures of Mayavad on the basis of Bhakti Siddhanta, the philosophy of pure devotion. You are the perfect and you are perfect and prompt in Vaishnava philosophy of pure devotion. You are ever blissful in preaching the great philosophy around the world, including Western countries. Oh, and Rukmini Didi, do you have an updated version of this that I could use now, or maybe tomorrow?
Maybe for tomorrow. I do have another version of it that at least it does have the diacritic marks, and it was it may have the translation may have been copy edited more also. So
okay, great, awesome. Shuddha Bhakti Pravarakam, Shuddha Bhakti Bhagiratam, Bhakti Daita Madhava, Abhinnatanum Namamyaham. O Bhagirath of pure devotion, one who carries pure devotion, like Bhagirath brought the Ganga to this world. So yes, oh, you who brought pure devotion, brought the flow of pure devotion. You are the one who is spreading the Ganga of pure devotion all over the world, and none different from Śrīla Bhakti Madhav Goswāmī. You are his. You are Śrīla Bhakti Madhav Goswāmī's expansion. I pay my respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. Nama Sankirtanamrita Rasaswada Vidhayakam Krishnam Naya Kripa Murtim Acharyam Tam Namamyaham. Just by Harinam Sankirtan, you generate and preach the taste of nectar of Lord Krishna's unlimited pastimes, holy name, form, characteristics, and Leela Dham. You are the deity form, the personification of Lord Krishna's mercy and the philosophy of this disciplinal succession. Disciplined succession. You teach and preach through your behavior. I offer my respects unto you. Gaura nama pracharardram bhakta sevanu akankshitam satirtha pritisar bhava nomi tirtha mahashayam. I pay my humble obeisances unto Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja, whose soft heart has become full of nectar by continuously preaching the sweet nectarian name of Sri Gaur Hari. He who serves all the Vaishnava servants of Gauranga Mahaprabhu humbly and glorifies them, who is most dear to Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Dait Madhav Goswami, and to whom Srila Gurudev is dear most, and one who is extraordinarily loyal and very loving to his god brothers. I pay my respectful obeisances unto Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. All right, so I'm going to hand it over to Rukmini Didi, and we'll now hear the biography, short biography of Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī.
Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much, Madhukar Prabhu. So I will start sharing my screen. And so this I just basically paraphrased from existing biographies and, just threw in some details that I personally knew. And I was typing this right up until this web stream started, so it could have typos and stuff. So please excuse me. So I can share the screen, right? Yes, click share screen, and I just want to share this Word doc. All right, and in my view, I can see I have a box with you in it. Now that box is not appearing when on the share, right? It's not blocking anything. Okay. All right, so let me put that box out of the way. How can I make it horizontal? Anyway, all right, so I wrote this so that others could read it. So Srila Gurudev, Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja mercifully gave me mantra diksha. So I refer to him as Srila Gurudev. So even though I wrote this so that anyone could read it and didn't refer to him as Srila Gurudev, I'll be saying Srila Gurudev while I'm reading it. So he was manifest on this world from 1924 to 2017, and so this is a little introduction about him. It is a blessing to remember the Vaishnavas on their appearance and disappearance. Many of us turn to the book Sri Chaitanya, His Life and Associates, or to websites deriving from this book to learn about the lives of these great Vaishnava saints. In fact, some of us may not even be aware of that. You may have to just check the footnote to realize that actually it is from this book. It is only fitting that we also get a glimpse of the life of the book's author himself, Swami B.B. Tīrtha. In other words, Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the revolutionary genius known as the Lion Guru, institutionalized Gaudiya Vaishnavism in order to fulfill the words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prithvi parjanta jato nagaradi gram, sharvatra prachar hoibe moranam. That's from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Anta Khanda, chapter 4, verse 126. However many towns and villages extend across the earth, in every one the preaching of my name shall be heard. Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur, there's a typo, used to say that one of his dearly beloved disciples, Srila Bhakti Madhav Gosvāmī Mahārāja, served his mission with volcanic energy. That was the phrase he used. Srila Madhav Maharaj in turn showered his affection on his dearly beloved and supremely faithful disciple, Srila Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Mahārāja. Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. The year 2024 is the 150th appearance anniversary of Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur and the 100th appearance anniversary of Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Srila Gurudev. Srila Gurudev appeared on the most auspicious occasion of Sri Ram Navami, 1924, in Gwalpara, Assam, India. From childhood, he was strongly inclined to spiritual pursuits and would spend much of his time in meditation. Seeking to understand truth deeply, he studied philosophy at Calcutta University. While still a student, he met Srila Madhav Maharaj, Srila Param Gurudev, whose powerful and magnetic preaching immediately attracted him. After Srila Gurudev received his master's degree in philosophy in 1947, he became a monk, completely surrendered at the lotus feet of Srila Param Gurudev, Srila Madhav Maharaj. From his earliest days of monastic life, all those around him noted his purity, simplicity, firm faith, and dedicated service. So I think most of your viewers know that my Srila Param Gurudev is my Gurudev's Gurudev. So that's whom I'm referring to, Srila Madhav Maharaj. So Srila Param Gurudev took Srila Gurudev with him on his travels throughout India. Soon he made Srila Gurudev the secretary of the institution Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math that Srila Param Gurudev had founded to propagate Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. In 1961, Srila Param Gurudev awarded Srila Gurudev with sannyas, the renounced order. There was a grand celebration in 2011 of 50 years of Srila Gurudev's sannyas. That was quite an awesome spectacle, and you can find videos of that on YouTube. In 1965, as Srila Prabhupada A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami was planning his journey to the USA to spread Krishna consciousness, and soon thereafter to found ISKCON, he requested Srila Gurudev to accompany him. However, Srila Gurudev was heavily engaged in many services at that time, including overseeing 3 construction projects in different cities of India. so he humbly had to decline at the time. Seeing Srila Gurudev's spiritual and practical qualifications, Srila Param Gurudev designated Srila Gurudev to succeed him as the head of Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. On Srila Param Gurudev's departure from this world in 1979, Srila Gurudev remained in Govardhan immersed in an ocean of deep grief. However, knowing the desire of Srila Param Gurudev, his godbrother, I meant to put the name of his godbrother here. So Srila Gurudev's godbrother finally persuaded him to come to Mayapur, where Srila Param Gurudev's dearly beloved godbrother, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, that's my Srila Guru Maharaj, read in an open assembly the letter that Srila Param Gurudev had entrusted to him. Accordingly, Srila Gurudev became President Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. Although Srila Param Gurudev had invested him with complete authority, Srila Gurudev always sought the shelter and advice of his seniors, the godbrothers of his beloved Gurudev, for decades afterward. Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's followers, including Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswāmī Mahārāja, Srila Guru Maharaj Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswāmī Mahārāja, Srila Bhakti Akinchan Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Kumud Santa Goswāmī Mahārāja continued showering Srila Gurudev with their affectionate blessings throughout their manifest pastimes. This surrender to senior Vaishnavas was just one example of how Srila Gurudev personified Vaishnav Sadachar, which could be translated as right conduct or etiquette. Although that sounds very prissy, it's actually just, there's not really a good translation of Sadachar. Anyway, his dealings were also exemplary with his own godbrothers, his disciples, dignitaries, temple guests, members of other faiths, the elderly, members of the public, whether men, women, or children, homeless people, animals, trees, and indeed all beings. His affection, humility, innocence, and purity enlivened these concepts with new meaning. Srila Gurudev's impeccable behavior, imbued with Vaishnav qualities, led to deep respect from Vaishnavas the world over, regardless of institutional boundaries. He served as president of the WVA, the World Vaishnava Association, for years. Starting from at least 1990, various devotees, and I know it started from at least 1990 because my own father Rasaraj Prabhu started asking this in 1990, seeing Srila Gurudev's sublime character and powerful preaching, requested him to travel outside of India to spread the glories of the holy name. After these repeated requests grew in number over several years, Srila Gurudev approached his beloved Shiksha Guru, instructing Guru, Srila Guru Maharaj Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, to ask what he should do. Srila Puri Maharaj wrote Srila Gurudev a letter instructing and blessing him to spread Mahaprabhu's teachings worldwide. To facilitate this mission, Srila Gurudev founded Gokul, the global organization of Krishna Chaitanya's universal love, and set out for the USA in 1997. And here's one thing I meant to put in and I neglected to, but I'll just say it now, that as wherever he reached in the USA, if it was a place that Srila Prabhupada A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami had come, the first thing he would ask is, where exactly did Srila Prabhupada go? Where did he set his feet? And he would ask to visit those very places so he could pay his respects, because he considered all of those places to be tirthas, to be holy places. So, for instance, in New York City. In New York City, Srila Gurudev addressed the United Nations World Conference on Religion and Peace, as well as the World Peace Prayer Society. He presented a cogent plan for world peace based on the universal principles of Sanatana Dharma. Over the course of his travels, which took him to 25 countries, including the UK, Holland, Italy, Austria, Germany, France, Russia, and others, he met with persons of various faiths, including prominent Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, Muslim, and Baha'i, I think that's not spelled correctly, but anyway, Baha'i theologians. Srila Gurudev was renowned everywhere for his lion-like roaring and dancing in ecstatic kirtan, as well as his lion-like roaring in his lectures, piercing through the veil of ignorance to reach the cores of his listeners' hearts. Yet, he always humbly told his listeners that whatever he was advising them, he was simply repeating the words of his teachers, and that those listeners should advise the same to Śrīla Tīrtha Maharāja, Śrīla Gurudev himself. He would just always say, you should say the same to me. It was very sweet and endearing. Śrīla Gurudev also wrote many books, mostly in Bengali, but also writing in English himself. He was always extremely careful and diligent about conveying the intended meaning. And his sevak, his secretary, like Paramadvati Maharaj, would note that he would look in the dictionary for every possible meaning of a word to make sure that his intended meaning could not be mistaken for some other meaning. He was very, very careful.
And he had such like a very unique vocabulary also, like because of that. Like there's so many words I learned a lot of words just from reading his writing, like votary, and there's a few like that.
Yes. He always wanted to find the word that meant just what he meant and not other things, basically. In 2002, heart issues curtailed Śrīla Gurudev's international travels. Nevertheless, he continued traveling tirelessly within India, disregarding the effects on his physical health. And I have a little personal incident from 2010. In 2010, in Karthik, my family, we traveled to India, to Govardhan and Vrindavan. And then we intended to then after that to go to wherever Śrīla Gurudev was and meet him there. And every time that we found out where he was and called the place, they said, oh, he was here just 2 days ago, and now he's gone somewhere else. And so then we kept, and then by the time we figured out how to call somewhere else, then he would be somewhere else. And, you know, we just kept chasing him by phone, and we were not able to make arrangements to go meet him, you know, ahead of him and meet him where he was until, so basically we only met up with him in Kolkata when he had returned to his home base. He was just, you know, traveling so fast. So from 2013, Śrīla Gurudev entered a mood of antaranga, or internal meditation. On April 20th, 2017, amidst Sankirtan, or congregational chanting that had been going on continuously for 7 days, Śrīla Gurudev left this world to enter his eternal pastimes. His last rites united Vaishnavas from many institutions in transcendental separation grief. However, he lives eternally through his instructions, and so, on this auspicious Vyāsa-pūjā day, Śrīla Gurudev, Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Mahārāja ki jai.
Jai ho. Thank you so much for that. That was beautiful. And also, if there's anything else, well, in this reading now or tomorrow and the day after, if there's anything else that you want to share, or it's all open to you. And also any of your god brothers or god sisters also, if anybody, or anybody really, if anybody has any inspiration, like, you know, they want to make any glorification, then this is fully free and open for everybody. So. All right, so now we have oh, were you about to say something?
I just thought I would share this one thing that Mother Jagadhatri told me, because I know she herself has left this world not very long ago. She told me that when Śrīla Gurudev went to Hawaii, so this was in Hilo, Hawaii, he went on Rath Yatra, and he went barefoot on the whole Rath Yatra, which was, you know, to everyone else it was burning hot, and he didn't manifest any, you know, he didn't seem to, you know, care about it at all.
We're actually witnesses to that
event. Yes.
Because we help Jagadhatri organize the Rath Yatras and Hilo, and she called us, you know, ahead of time. And so we arranged, we financed, you know, the festival. And I remember arriving there and I picked him up at the airport, and we took him to the site, and it was intensely hot. Hawaii could get very, very hot, like India, and the asphalt was kind of melting. Nevertheless, you can see him, and he's an elderly. He jumped out of the car, and he jumped all the way, like he walked like maybe 2 miles, about 2 miles, the route of the Rath Yatra, jumping, dancing, no shoes, with an intense heat. I had to like almost force him to, at the end of the route, to come back, please, to the shade in the car, to bring him over to his quarters. But yeah, we witnessed that, and his humbleness was extraordinary.
He came to our house.
And of course, he came to our house, and we arranged for all his tour, and we did he had a very special relationship with his danda. Very, he considered it very, very important and sacred. So we traveled. We had a little asana for his danda, and he came over to our place, and we did a program. I mean, I think probably about 400 devotees came over that day. It was like, and he remained the whole full day, 2 days around our place, and he was so really amazing, and he blessed us really in our lives, and we began a relationship. I had actually he signed the book of the Gauraganodesh Deepika, or the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who were there, and unfortunately, I think he got stolen, or
This
but
book, right?
that book, and oh my God, we loved him instantly. He gave me so many gifts. He just kept giving me things, giving us things. He gave me a dhoti, tilak from Kashmir, because Ras Bihari is his secretary, and Srila Maharaj, he stayed with the family. That he knew them well, and I believe he installed. Maybe Rukmini, you know this, but I think that Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Maharaj installed deities, Thakurjis, at Ras Bihari's parents' house in Kashmir. And so when I mentioned this Kashmir because when he gave me a mirror, it was all cloisonné, like Kashmiri, dhoti, and like that, and he was always trying to give me something. Very, very sweet association. And so a little short story, and I won't talk anymore, but we had to, or perhaps tomorrow there is more things to share here, but there's a little story about his danda and what happened with it, and I could say it today or tomorrow, whatever as you like, but it was something that it's up to you, Prabhu. I don't know.
Oh, you can tell now. Just don't make it way too long, but yeah, you can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Very short. We were bringing him back. We pay for the tour, so we were bringing him to all the different functions and lectures and like that. Apart from, besides, I've been also doing the thing in my house, at our house, and that's when I noticed. That's what I was talking about, the danda, and his love for it and respect, and so anyhow, we're driving back 2 hours to the airport, driving him to his flight, and when we get there, the TSA was starting to form. The security was starting to get a little tighter, and when they saw the danda, it was before 9/11. But when they saw his danda, maybe it was just about that time. they say, no, he cannot bring this, what is this, a stick, like, it could be like a weapon or something and on board. And Super Soul, obviously, I look at them, I look at the guards and all the TSA people, they're all Filipino, and they're Catholics, and I was raised Catholic. And I said, no, that's it. He's a bishop. He's a bishop. He's, Śrīla Mahārāja, and gave him title. And I spoke to the guards, and I don't know if whatever flow, they were like, the eyes became really big, and they were all like appreciating it. And I said, okay, the special dispensation. So I got him to keep his danda, and he was so thankful. He never forgot. And when we got to years later, to the devotee said, "Oh, you're so and so. Oh, we heard about. Thank you, about the danda incident. But it was very special, and like always, traveling with or being around the pure devotee is very magical and auspicious and very transcendentally blissful. Like those 400 devotees showing up at the house, and we had like a feast, and no problem, we cooked. Somehow or other, everything happened. It was just like, anyhow, my little contribution. I hope it didn't take too long.
Oh, thank you so much. That was beautiful. Yes.
Another story of the danda that Rasbihari Prabhu mentioned, which he could probably tell in more detail, but at one point, I think it was in Florida, Srila Gurudev and Rasbihari Prabhu arrived at the gate, and then his danda, which had been supposedly put in a closet or something, it didn't appear. And Srila Gurudev was so upset that he just sat down. He became very dejected, and he wouldn't leave. He said that, my Gurudev put that in my hands himself. He considered that danda to be the representative of Param Gurudev, and he wouldn't, drink water. He wouldn't, take prasad. He wouldn't do anything. He just, would remain there until finally, a long time later, the danda was brought to him. He considered it as a representation of Param Gurudev.
Jai Ho. Beautiful. Rukmini Didi, did you have anything more that you like with the story from Jagadatri about him on Rath Yatra? Were you finished with that, or did you have anything more with that?
That was all that I personally recall. I mean,
Okay.
I remembered that.
Yeah.
I mean, several people, many people were there in Hawaii. I personally somehow didn't encounter Srila Gurudev outside of India. Even the rest of my family did. I was somehow elsewhere. So other people have more stories of that.
He named Jagadatri's mother. Her mother was
He gave in his
Harinam,
I think.
Well, sort of. She didn't want to stop being a Catholic, she said, but he named her Mamita.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Mamata. All right. So now we're going to well, we could either, there's this beautiful book called Sweet, Sweeter, Sweetest by written by Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja's personal sevak, who was Prahlad Prabhu at that time. Now he is Bhakti Suhṛt Paramadvati Mahārāja. And then also there's a book of his letters called Affectionately Yours. So maybe I'll read a little something from Sweet, Sweeter, Sweetest so that we can read more of his glories, and then I think that will, then we'll start reading some of his letters. And then tomorrow, we'll read more from this book, Sweet, Sweeter, Sweetest. And yeah, so on. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen, and here's the book, Sweet, Sweeter, Sweetest. divine pastimes of Jagadguru Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtatarashata Shishimad Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And this book is available online at the website bbtirtha.org, I think. You can find it there. Okay, so I'll read the foreword and most. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Let me just. Okay. Most revered Shishimad Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja was richly endowed with all Vaishnava virtues from his early childhood. Offering earnest respect to elders and superiors was his inherent trait. He never paid even one iota of attention towards wealth, women, and worldly prestige, which are greatly honored by people in general. From a very early age, he displayed detachment from all varieties of worldly affairs. The highly esteemed disciples of Jagadguru Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, by hearing whose name one becomes purified immediately, praised him unreservedly, saying, Tīrtha Maharaj is a topmost Vaishnav. One time, my most revered Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtatarashata Shishmad Bhakti Madhav Gosvāmī Mahārāja, told me, after discussion with my senior godbrothers, I have decided to appoint Śrīmad Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Mahārāja as the next president in my absence. Persons like him are extremely rare in this world. Even my godbrothers say so. One occasion, when most revered Śrīla Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja was in Chakdaha, I asked him over the telephone to arrange some money for the service of one of our mats. He asked me to go there in a rented car. He had put a lot of money in a sack, and upon my arrival, asked me to take it along with me. When I asked him how much money was in the bag, he replied, I have not counted. Whatever amount is there is for the service of the mat. I counted it later and found that the amount totaled 125,000 rupees. At present, the same amount has an equivalent value of more than 2,500,000 rupees. Such was his indifference towards material wealth that he did not even count the money. Most revered Śrīla Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja is a Paramahamsa. Those who have taken shelter of his lotus feet are assured of all auspiciousness. Only persons with extreme good fortune can get such a guru. It is highly essential to inform the entire world that saints such as him are present, even in current times. Therefore, may his personal servant be successful in making a compilation about him in the English language in a befitting manner. To disseminate topics pertaining to the Mahabhagavats is the greatest service. If this book is translated into other languages, particularly Bengali and Hindi, then a greater number of devotees will be benefited. Bhakti Bhushan Bhagavat, the present President Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. Okay, so now this is the preface of Śrīpāda Bhakti Suhṛt Paramadvati Maharaj, who was his personal servant at the end time, and his name was Prahlad Prabhu. So he says, in March 2010, soon after Gaur Purnima, I had the good fortune to become a personal servant of our most revered Srila Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtatarashata Shishimad Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja by virtue of his causeless mercy upon me. At this point, a fresh journey of numerous lessons was initiated in my spiritual life. Although every activity of Srila Gurudev was a scriptural teaching in itself, yet on numerous occasions, he mercifully gave me direct instructions. Also, at certain times, he mercifully exhibited anger intended to further my spiritual advancement. The true implications of the scriptural instructions that I had previously learned became more explicit by dint of his transcendental association. I consider it my great fortune to have had the opportunity to be in his divine proximity, and will forever remain indebted to him for his causeless mercy and generous compassion upon me. The experiences and inspirations that Srila Gurudev had mercifully bestowed upon me during this time have been compiled in this book. I consider them to be not only a source of inspiration for me, but highly instructive for everyone. This book is classified into 3 sections. The first section details his travels within India, his preaching activities, and interactions with various devotees between 2010 and 2012. The second section relates the divine ecstasies he exhibited while he was in states of deep spiritual immersion, particularly in 2013. During this time, he interacted very little with the devotees and was mostly absorbed in Harinam and meditating on his Gurudev's divine feet. A few inconceivable pastimes of Srila Gurudev are included in this section. The last section of the book covers the events that took place after he entered into the pastimes of inner absorption in late 2013, concluding with his unprecedented Samadhi events in Sri Dham Mayapur in April 2017. Scriptural insights that helped me understand his pastimes on a deeper level are also provided throughout this book. Although these sections are not necessarily interrelated and can be read discreetly, it is recommended to study this book from its beginning. That is because it is most essential to understand Srila Gurudev's divine personality, ontological aspect, absorption in devotion, surrender to Sri Guru, etc., before jumping into his esoteric pastimes, which, due to being on a different plane of reality, are very difficult to comprehend. All the pastimes of Srila Gurudev are equally delightful and relishable. However, depending on the intensity of service engagements that he mercifully offered to me at various stages of his pastimes, I experienced different measures of sweetness that can grossly be compared to that of sugarcane, molasses, and sugar candy. Sugarcane is sweet, molasses is yet more sweet, and sugar candy is even sweeter. In a similar way, Srila Gurudev's pastimes during his active preaching were experienced by me to be sweet. Sweeter still were his pastimes when he was immersed in experiencing various transcendental blissful states. But sweeter than the sweetest were his pastimes during his silent state and pastimes of departure from this world. He left behind him an ultimate lesson for all of us. As these pastimes were taking place, particularly those described in sections 2 and 3, Srila Gurudev immersed us, his personal servants, in day-to-day immediate services that were very intense in nature. Due to a lack of proper spiritual understanding, I have committed innumerable offenses at his lotus feet. I sincerely beg for forgiveness at those lotus feet for all the offenses I have committed knowingly or unknowingly. I also pray for his causeless mercy to give me strength to sing his glories. Acting upon the merciful order of some of my senior god brothers, I took up the service of writing my experiences that were benevolently showered upon me by Srila Gurudev during my close association with him. Although I am fully aware of my ineligibility due to a want of surrender, I understand that the Vaishnavas have graciously given me this order for my own purification. Their causeless mercy is my only shelter. Also, for a long time, I have personally felt that I owe this work to the devotees. It will be unjust of me to keep these illustrious pastimes of Srila Gurudev undisclosed, as his activities are a source of inspiration for all the living beings. This book, however, is not meant to be his biography. The Supreme Lord can be understood in a multitude of ways as per the degree of submission and mood of a devotee. Similarly, Srila Gurudev, the Lord's non-different manifestation, appears differently to different devotees. Therefore, other devotees who directly witness the events that I have narrated in this book may have perceived and understood them differently, as revealed to them by Srila Gurudev. There's also the possibility that the reader might perceive yet another dimension to these pastimes. This is by no means impossible, as it would only indicate the infinite diversity of the undivided spiritual truth. See Srimad Bhagavatam 3:32-33. To sing the glories of a transcendental spiritual personality like Srila Gurudev is not possible for a foolish person like me, who is enveloped by lust, anger, greed, illusion, mundane vanity, and envy. It is like a dwarf's attempt to grasp the moon in the sky. However, apart from the merciful order of the Vaishnavas, I have been inspired to take up this service because of Sri Narad's instructions to Veda Vyas Muni in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.11. So Narada instructs Vyasadeva. He says, that literature, which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc. of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation, full of transcendental words, directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Finally, I acknowledge my sincere thanks to my Guru Varga and senior godbrothers who inspired me to compile and publish this work. I express my heartfelt gratitude to those who edited, proofread, and financially contributed to the publishing of this work. I hope that the contents of this book will bring joy to the Vaishnava readers, and that they will bless me so that I can follow the instructions of Srila Gurudev and thereby make my life successful. Shri Guru Vaishnav Das Anudas Prahlad Das, now known as Śrīpāda Bhakti Suhṛt Paramadvati Mahārāja. Says he is the true definition of the word Vaishnav, and his exemplary life is an actual description of Vaishnav standards. Okay, so I think I will read until, let's say, like for 20 minutes. And then after that, we will read from his letters, that book, Affectionately Yours. Okay, the Peerless Master. Our most revered Srila Gurudev, Paramahansa Parivrajacacharya, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtatarashata Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja is celebrated as a crest jewel of the Gaudiya Vaishnava lineage. He is the very personification of the most illustrious mood of surrender and the perfect order carrier of his spiritual master. Richly endowed with the Vaishnava ornamental qualities such as humility and simplicity, his conduct has set the highest standard of an example for all. His magnanimity is as broad as the sky and as deep as the ocean. He is an embodiment of love, care, and affection, a symbol of steadfastness, and a hallmark of devotional enthusiasm. Through his exemplary devotional traits, Srila Gurudev won over the hearts of all the Vaishnavas and became a recipient of the bountiful blessings of his Guru Varga. Pleased with his submission and service efforts, his Gurudev, Paramahansa Parivrajacacharya Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtatarashata Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Madhava Gosvāmī Mahārāja once said, I have many disciples, but the one who lives up to my heart's satisfaction is Tīrtha Mahārāja. His humility and respect for his superiors drew the attention of many other stalwart disciples of Paramahansa Parivrajacacharya Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtatarashata Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. As some of them, how do you say this, Rukmini Didi? This or Satyamataji? Anyways.
Yeah, it stands for something. I don't, maybe it's at the
okay.
Not that she knows. Viz, I guess. Okay,
I'll just say Viz then. His humility and respect for his superiors drew the attention of many other stalwart disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, such as Param Pujapad Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj and Param Pujapad Srila Bhakti Saurabh Bhakti Sar Goswami Maharaj. Oh, sorry. Anyways, whatever. So they said, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj and Bhakti Saurabh Bhakti Sar Goswami Maharaj said, Tīrtha Maharaj is a topmost Vaishnav. He is an embodiment of Mahaprabhu's third verse of Shikshashtak, Trinadapi Sunichena. Your life will become successful if you submit to him. Srila Gurudev considered his godbrothers as expansions of his Gurudev and offered them his sincere love and respect, thereby earning an exalted place in their hearts. While taking his name with absolute reverence, the present members of the Vaishnav community venerably rise to their feet, offering their heartfelt salutations. They regard him as an effulgent sun in the Gaudiya sky. Thus, he won the accolades of the Vaishnavas of all three generations, the Guru Varga, his Guru Bhai, his godbrothers and equals, and the Shishya Varga, his disciples and the like, his followers. Srila Gurudev's submission to the Parampara was exceptional. He was steadfastly uncompromising in following the orders of his predecessor acharyas and did not accept anyone's deviation from them. Thus, he is a true ambassador of the Gaudiya Vaishnav lineage during his time and a matchless master. Any serious votary who sincerely wants to seek the shelter of a truly bona fide guru for his own eternal welfare will undoubtedly end his search at the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev. Who in the three worlds could possibly sing the glories of such a transcendental personality such as Srila Gurudev sufficiently? His virtues are unfathomable. No one has a capacity to discover the boundaries of the vast ocean of his infinite qualities, in spite of diving in it for millions of lifetimes. His glory and excellence in devotion goes on ad infinitum, attributing all glory to Sri Guru. Śrīla Gosvāmī in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:3 verses 25 to 26 describes the qualities of a devotee in the stage of Bhav Bhakti as Ashaktis tar gunakyane, always eager to sing the transcendental qualities of his beloved Lord while taking immense pleasure in doing so. And 2, Pritis tar vasati stale, possessing a fondness for the places where his dearmost Lord performed his divine pastimes. Oops, I just need to plug in my computer. A devotee is submerged by a fresh wave of ecstasy every time he sings the glories of the Lord of his heart. He seeks even the slightest of opportunities to visit those places that are lila udipaka, stimulants of the transcendental pastimes. In early May 2010, Srila Gurudev was staying at Kolkata Math. Lord Jagannath's Chandan Yatra festival was approaching. During this festival, the Lord goes on a palanquin to Chandan Sarovar for a boat ride in the evening. This continues for 21 days. As in Puridam, this festival is observed with a great splendor at our Agartala Math. Srila Gurudev expressed his desire to participate in this festival at Agartala Math and asked us, his sevaks, to book the tickets. Out of concern for his health at his advanced age, we requested him to postpone the trip. One day, Srila Gurudev invited all of us into his room and affectionately described the glories of Agartala Math. He mentions that only by virtue of the uncommon divine qualities of his Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Shishimad Bhakti Madhav Goswāmī Mahārāja, referred to as Srila Param Gurudev henceforth, so due to the divine qualities of Srila Bhakti Madhav Goswāmī Mahārāja, the place where the Agartala Math is currently standing could be obtained. And there's a picture of Srila Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja with Srila Bhakti Madhav Goswāmī Mahārāja. Further, he said that it would not be good if he did not go there. When we pleaded with him to postpone the trip, he said, "If you had known the glories of our Gurudev and the way he procured the land in Agartala with his distinctive craft, you would certainly not say no. You should understand the glories of that place before advising me not to go there." He went on to describe the entire episode, and you can see which is described in Appendix 1, showing great resolve to visit there. Whenever we requested Srila Gurudev to postpone his trip to Agartala, he repeated its glories. However, at no point did he exhibit impatience or anger towards us. On the contrary, he took it as an opportunity to speak about the importance of the place and the extraordinary qualities of his Gurudev that had made him so successful in each of his service attempts. In this way, he'd repeat those glories to us at least 2 to 3 times a day. Seeing his resolve, we finally booked flight tickets to Agartala. When we informed him of this, he was filled with delight. Nonetheless, he continued to repeat the glories of Agartala Math and his Gurudev almost every day till the date of our journey. Thus, he took immense pleasure in singing the glories of his Gurudev. After we arrived at Agartala, Srila Gurudev was extremely blissful as he related his Gurudev's pastimes in connection with that land. On May 30, 2010, he was scheduled to speak Harikatha at the evening assembly. He recited his Gurudev's unparalleled efforts several times to us during the day. In the evening, he started his Harikatha by saying, "The main person behind securing this place for our mat in Agartala is our most revered Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashishimad Bhakti Ballabha Gosvāmī Mahārāja." And here's a picture of the Agartala mat. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki Jai. Okay. In the middle of Harikatha, he said, "The chief minister and the revenue minister of Agartala became attracted by the extraordinary personality of our Srila Gurudev and took a special interest in getting the Jagannath temple handed over to Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. And toward the end of the Harikatha, he emphatically spoke, 'Who possesses the ability to get this land? If Gurudev were not present, would it be possible? Our Gurudev is no ordinary person.' After the Harikatha, he spoke about the glories of his Gurudev to us while he was on his way to his bhajan kutir. Inside his bhajan kutir, he sat on his cot and spoke about the matchless and untiring efforts of his Gurudev to obtain the desired land in Agartala. He had related his Gurudev's unwavering service attempts umpteen times, but what he did not mention all these times was the many hardships he himself had to undergo to get the land registered in the name of our mat. He had to forgo eating, sleeping, and several other bodily necessities to fulfill his Gurudev's desire. The events that Srila Gurudev did, the events that Srila Gurudev did not mention went like this. Hare Krishna, Dhanava Pranam. Hare Krishna. So even though the chief government authorities were in favor of giving the lands to our mat, there were many hurdles obstructing the way. The journey from that point had not been easy. Srila Gurudev, as a secretary of the mat at that time, frequently met the government officials in Agartala, as well as a lawyer in Kolkata, which involved traveling to both of these places several times. He also had a lot of written communication with the government personnel and the lawyer. During this time, he traveled extensively with Srila Param Gurudev and assisted his preaching efforts at various locations across India, while he also took care of other administrative duties in the mat. This continued for almost 3 years. Finally, when the actual date of handing over the responsibilities of the site came, Srila Gurudev and the government officials arrived there. However, the pujari of the temple, from whom charge of the site needed to be taken, had locked the gate and left the place. Srila Gurudev waited for him all day. He waited for him all day long without food and water. He did not even go to the restroom, fearing that the government agents might leave, using the excuse that he was not present at the particular needed moment. However, at last, the land was registered and handed over to Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math due to his persistent effort, much to the pleasure of Srila Param Gurudev. Yet, whenever he spoke about Agartala Math to us, Srila Gurudev did not mention these efforts by him. And we heard how many times he mentioned it over and over and over and over again of Srila, like for many, many days, about Srila Bhakti Ballabha Gosvāmī Mahārāja's glories and obtaining this place. But he never mentioned himself ever, even though he went through so much effort. On that particular day, when he was speaking about his Gurudev in an absorbing manner inside his bhajan kutir in Agartala, I could not contain myself and suddenly spoke out over. I spoke out of overexcitement. I said, "You also played a vital role in getting this land. You also contributed to it, Gurudev." However, my outburst of unsolicited speech was absolutely unacceptable to him. He could not entertain my act of giving credit to his efforts while he was chanting the glories of his Gurudev. His lotus eyes became red with anger as he glared at me without uttering a word. Perhaps he thought that I might not be able to tolerate his chastisement at this point, but there was no need for any special admonishment anyway, as his stare alone conveyed his complete dissatisfaction with my foolishness. I had learned my first lesson. Conditioned souls, out of ignorance and false pride, think they are the doers. They consider themselves as the heroes of a task and think that had it not been them, the particular activity would have not become successful. On the other hand, the pure devotees understand that everything becomes possible only by the grace of Shri Guru and the Supreme Lord. Śrīla Prabhupada said, "The followers of Sri Rupa Goswami do not place their faith in their own powers, but rather attribute all glory to the fountainhead of attribute all glory to the fountainhead of those powers." Srila Gurudev is a legendary example of this teaching of Srila Prabhupada. We observed on numerous occasions that whenever he spoke about the efforts involved in procuring the land in Agartala and Puridam or in Chandigarh, he would ascribe everything to his Gurudev. Even though he had put forth so much personal effort at each of these places, he decried accepting any credit for himself. After participating in Lord Jagannath's Chandan Yatra festival in Agratala, Srila Gurudev attended Snan Yatra in Chakdaha, and a fortnight later he partook in the Rath Yatra festival in Purushottam Dham. In Agartala, as well as Puri, he initiated sincere votaries into Krishna Nam and Krishna Mantra. He then returned to Kolkata and stayed there for approximately 2 months. His unprecedented mercy floods the world. Several devotees, particularly those from outside India, used to send their spiritual questions to Srila Gurudev via email or some other means. And during his free time, which was usually the time between his lunch and afternoon rest, he would hear his replies to those queries. One afternoon, when Srila Gurudev was sitting relaxed on his easy chair, I read out a question about Jiva Tattva to him. As soon as he heard it, a sense of earnestness was seen in him as he straightened his back from a leaning posture. He started his reply to the question by narrating the life story of King Bharat, who left his kingdom and family and entered the forest to perform Hari Bhajan, but became attached to a baby deer upon seeing its helpless condition. Ultimately, Bharat became a deer in his next life because of his remembrance of the deer at the time of his death. Srila Gurudev, in his reply, seriously warned everyone against wasting this extraordinary, rare, but precious human birth by spending time uselessly for fulfilling material sense desires, thereby missing the ultimate target. Srila Gurudev continued, "The Supreme Lord Shri Krishna and the jivas, the living entities, are eternally related to each other. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has termed this relation as achinta bhed abhed. This means that the living entities are simultaneously one with and different from the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna by dint of his inconceivable potencies. When I was at home, I had several doubts about Jiva Tattva, Bhagavad Tattva, etc., and I used to write letters to my most revered Srila Gurudev, Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha. In one of his letters, he asked me to read the book Jaiva Dharma, written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I went to a library in Goalpara and had that book issued. After I studied the book thoroughly, all my doubts were clarified. You may also read that book. All your questions will be answered." It was getting late. it was getting late in the afternoon, so I asked Śrīla Gurudev to take rest. I told him that I would draft a reply and show it to him after his afternoon rest was over. He appeared to be extremely eager to shower more mercy upon the questioner, and eventually on all of us. However, I urged him to take rest. Reluctantly, he rose from his easy chair and rested on his bed as the lights were dimmed. After paying my obeisances, I came out of his room and I started to do some other less important activities rather than starting to draft the reply. After about 5 minutes, Śrīla Gurudev rang the bell. And there's a footnote here. It says that Śrīla Gurudev used bells to call the sevaks if he needed any assistance from them. Initially, he didn't like to use a bell to call a Vaishnav, classifying it as being impolite and against Vaishnav etiquette. He said, "The Vaishnavs are servants of the mat. I am not their boss. How can I order anyone?" He did not like to engage anyone in his service. He did everything himself. If there should be an absolute need for someone's assistance, he would personally go to that Vaishnav and politely ask for help. After repeated requests by the Vaishnavs for several years, he started using a bell to call the sevaks. But he never addressed his sevaks as my sevaks. Instead, he referred to them as servants of the mat, or our helpers, or our well-wishers.
Can I mention something?
Yes,
It's on the same line. So once at the end of the parikrama, when there was, I think it was in Rajmandal parikrama, the people got back from parikrama very, very late, and then much later than they were actually supposed to. And so then they just had time to take prasadam, and then everyone was very tired from the long parikrama, and they went, all went to sleep. And then, and the sevaks also thought that Śrīla Gurudev had gone to take rest. And then at some point they woke up and they realized that Śrīla Gurudev was not in his room. And then they went looking for him, and they went downstairs and they found that he was washing the pots from the prasadam. And they said, "Oh no, Śrīla Gurudev, we were going to do that tomorrow." And he said, "Oh, why, I barely do anything. Let me do this service." But yeah, he was washing the pots from the parikrama.
Wow. That is amazing. Wow, what a beautiful example of how he's the embodiment of humility. And also the Acharya showing by his own example how one should serve. No service is considered inferior or superior. All service to the Lord is transcendental and glorious. And so we should never hesitate to even perform a so-called menial service. That's beautiful. Thank you. That's beautiful. So, oh, yes.
When we used to stop with Śrīla Gurudev Narayan Maharaj and parikramas and go see him, Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja, and he would speak. One of the times he spoke, it was about being the head of the mat. That didn't mean that he was the supreme boss. On the contrary, he was a servant of all the rest of the devotees. He said, "I'm just," that's what it really means to be the acharya, the director of the mat, and that we are just but humble servants of all the other Vaishnavas.
Yeah, Śrīla Gurudev used to say that Śrīla Param Gurudev put him in charge to keep him out of trouble, so that he would always be engaged in serving the Vaishnavas.
He was so special.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Wow. Okay, so after paying, I'm just going back so you get the flow. So yeah, he spoke those things. Then Prahlad Prabhu at the time, he said he went after he went to go take rest. He went to do some other more less important activities rather than draft the reply. Then after about 5 minutes, Śrīla Gurudev rang the bell to call me inside his bhajan kutir. I went inside and saw that he was in a thoughtful state, as he said, There are 8,400,000 kinds of living entities, including the birds and beasts. Jalaja Navalakshani, Stavara Lakshavimshati, Krimayo Rudra Sankyaka, Pakshinam Dashalakshanam, Tringsha Lakshani Pashava, Chatur Lakshani Manusha. That's from the Sri Vishnu Puran. There are 900,000 forms of life in the water, 2 million forms of trees and other plants. There are 1,100,000 species of insects and reptiles, and 1 million species of birds. There are 3 million varieties of beasts and 400,000 human species. So we must pass through all 8 million different forms of life before we can come to the human form of life. 8,400,000 different forms of life before we can come to the human form of life. The human birth is very rare, and one should not waste this precious opportunity. The Supreme Lord is pleased after creating the human beings because they have the capacity to worship him. So it is unwise to squander this most valuable human birth in the pursuit of mundane pleasures. Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada said that the only duty of this human birth is to endeavor for our highest eternal welfare. Labdva sudur labamidam bahusam bhavante manushamarta damanityamapi hadira. Kintu, turnam yateta napater anumrityu yavan nishreyasaya vishaya kalusarvata syat. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 11.929. After innumerable births, we have been born as human beings. Therefore, this human birth is very rare. Although it is impermanent, it bestows the highest benefit of serving the Supreme Lord and offers the opportunity to attain the highest objective permanently. It is the actual duty of all the human beings to try their utmost to achieve the highest welfare. Therefore, a person who possesses actual knowledge will endeavor for his highest eternal welfare before another death occurs, because in all other births, we only achieve connection with non-eternal worldly objects, which cause intense suffering. However, actual eternal welfare is not possible in other births. So, you should also write this in your reply, Srila Gurudev said. I took his permission and came out of his room to allow him a timely rest. He rang the bell once more. He rang the bell one more time after 5 minutes. When I went inside, he continued, our most revered Param Guru Parma, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Ashtotarashata Shishimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada spoke on the Labdva Sudurlabham verse for 1 month at Ultadanga Road, Kolkata. In spite of that, he was not fully satisfied, as he felt that he could not finish explaining the verse entirely. During one of those days, 2 students of Scottish Church College, where Srila Prabhupada went to also when he was younger, they came there, Kolkata came there. Fixing his merciful glance upon them, Srila Prabhupada said that even a moment of this human birth should not be wasted without performing Hari Bhajan. The two students said that they had come only to see what was happening there, and that they had to return to their homes. In reply, Srila Prabhupada said, Turnam, immediately you should start the worship of the Supreme Lord, because you may lose this rare opportunity at any moment. The 2 students, baffled at the force with which Srila Prabhupada was speaking to them, replied, oh, what if our houses burn? Who will stop the fire if we do not go there? Srila Prabhupada then exclaimed, let them burn. And the students replied, if we do not stop the fire, our neighboring houses will also be burned. To this, Srila Prabhupada emphatically stated, let the entire world burn. Still, you will not lose anything because you are Brahma Bhuta. You are of the Lord and from the Lord, not Jagat Bhuta, of this world and from this world. Srila Gurudev continued. Later, the 2 students stayed in the mat. You should write this also in your reply. It is not wise to waste this human birth uselessly. After listening to that affectionate caution, I once again paid my obeisances to him and came out of his room. Although I witnessed the sincerity with which Srila Gurudev replied to the question, I still did not get a sense of, I did not sense the immediacy of my duty to draft a reply. I was sitting in the room outside of Srila Gurudev's Bhajan Kutir and engaged myself with some duties of lesser importance on my computer. Suddenly, I realized that he was trying to open the door of his room from inside. I stood up and helped him, standing at the doorstep, looking over more concerned and compassionate. He did not waste a second to speak out. He said, Prahlad Maharaj said to the demoniac boys, Komara acharit pragyo dharman bhagavatan iha durlabam manusham janma tad apya dhruvam arthadam. Srimad Bhagavatam 761. After attaining this most rare human birth in this world, a person who is sufficiently intelligent gives up all his endeavors for temporary material pleasures and executes the principles of Bhagavat Dharma, starting from the tender age of childhood. Although this human body is temporary, it is meaningful. In other words, despite the transient nature of this human life, the practice of devotional activities, even for a moment, will award the highest welfare. With genuine affection, Srila Gurudev said softly, the human birth is very rare. It should not be squandered in the pursuit of temporary pleasures. Those who have attained a human birth should only worship the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. Do you understand? You should write this in reply to that question. I was struck with wonder and was touched in the deepest core of my heart upon seeing his causeless compassion for all the human beings. He had already stated the importance of human birth several times in reply to this question, but to re-emphasize it and to urge us toward proper utilization of it, he had taken the pain of getting up from his bed and had walked all the way over to me. Perhaps he thought that I might get annoyed with his repeated ringing of the bell to convey the same message. Or he, as Antaryami, the all-knower, understood that I had not taken his message seriously enough due to being preoccupied with other jobs. Or maybe he thought it was his responsibility to urge everyone to perform Hari Bhajan immediately. I feel that we are not as sincere to bring about our own welfare as much as he is willing to award it to us. It's beautiful. I feel that we are not as sincere to bring about our welfare as much as he is willing to award it to us. His genuineness in every act is most profound and provides a lesson for one and all. His magnanimity is like an ocean whose beauty and vastness renders one speechless. I assisted Srila Gurudev back to his bed and came out of his room after he had retired. This time, I took his message to heart and started to draft a reply. I had proofread the draft several times and kept it ready. After Srila Gurudev rose from his afternoon rest, although I'm not really sure he really had one, he immediately called me inside his room to check if I was ready with a draft. I brought my corrected draft and showed it to him. He was very quick to identify some mistakes in the draft. At a glance, he could precisely identify the areas where I was neglectful, are the places that had not received my complete effort. Should 99% effort be accorded, then he would quickly point out the missing 1%. He always applied extreme care and caution to each of his writings and advised everyone to follow that. He did not approve any inadequate attempt. Srila Gurudev said, "You should write in such a way that there is no possibility of ambiguity. You should use appropriate words so that there is no scope of deviation from the true implication of what is to be conveyed." As per Srila Gurudev's suggestions, a few corrections were implemented in the draft. He then asked me to send the answer to all the devotees, not just the questioner alone. The next few days, he checked with me whether or not the devotees had received his reply, whether they had gone through it, whether they liked it, or if anyone wanted to know anything further in this regard. Srila Gurudev's sincerity to award true benefits to all the living beings is an example of his benevolence. It is very rare to find such an affectionate master, especially in the current age. Guravo Bahava Shanti Shishya Vitta Paharaka Durlabo Sargurur Devi Shishya Santa Paharaka. That's from a Padma Puran. Lord Shiva said to Parvati, "O Devi, there are so many so-called gurus who are experts in plundering their disciples' wealth, but extremely rare is a bona fide guru who can permanently remove the anxieties of his disciples." Jai. That's so beautiful. Wow. To see the how much care he would put into, like, when if I ever get an email and I get a question, I just like, oh God, I have another email I have to respond to, and I just write something as quick as I can just to like get it over with. And like, but you see, he is the Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math with probably thousands of disciples, and all over the world. It's such a big Acharya. And see, just for one disciple, when he writes a question, how much care at such an old age also, with how much effort he went through to respond to the question. Yeah. So we only have like 5 minutes left. I think maybe I'll just read one small thing from Affectionately Yours, and then we'll continue. Tomorrow, I think the program will read this book. He has a book called Dash Avatar. And so we'll read the chapter on Lord Ramachandra that he wrote. And then we'll also read more from this book, Sweet, Sweeter, Sweetest, and more from Affectionately Yours, and whatever else anybody has. Also, if anybody wants to glorify him, there'll be more opportunities for that. But I'll just finish.
There's one letter that he wrote to me, but I'm not sure I'll be here tomorrow. Maybe I could.
Would you like to read that?
Maybe the day after tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine. The day after tomorrow we can.
I mean,
okay.
I have several letters he wrote to me, but this particular letter, someone I shared it with who was not even his disciple said that it had a profound effect on her also. So I thought maybe I would.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so that will be the day after tomorrow then, yeah?
Yeah, I don't want to set anything for tomorrow because I might still be at the temple program.
Okay, that's totally fine. All right, so we'll just read this. This is the book. What is it? It's a book of his letters. My Affectionately Yours. We'll just read one small thing from this, and then we'll end our program for today. Okay, I'm skipping the preface. Okay, so here's the first letter. The first part of the book is Fundamentals of Devotion. If there is a mistake in determining the self, there will also be a mistake in the determination of the actual necessity of the self. If the goal of life is wrongly determined, the means to achieve it will also be wrong. So all efforts will be futile. It is very essential to have clear and correct knowledge of the self. It's really nice to read that section, that remembrance of Paramadvati Maharaj, because now we have some idea of these letters that he's writing, what kind of urgency and love and care, and how he wasn't just like writing, like he really like strongly was trying to, like he felt every word that he wrote was so potent with meaning and urgency and care and love. And yeah, he didn't just say anything lightly. The root cause of sufferings. Dear Shri, and the name was redacted, I think. Fundamentals of Devotion. All glory to Shri, Guru, and Gauranga. I received your letter dated, sent by email, and noted the contents. May all merciful Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Krishna bless you. The very fact that we are in bondage and are suffering threefold afflictions proves that we are averse to God, Shri Krishna. The root cause of our affliction is forgetfulness of our eternal relationship with Shri Krishna. Those jivas who have done eternal good deeds, who are fortunate, come in contact with real sadhus, with Shuddha Bhaktas, and come to know about their real self. that they are eternal servants of Sri Krishna, and as they have forgotten their eternal relationship with Sri Krishna, they are entangled in the snare of Maya. Now, if they take absolute shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, they will be rescued. Jivas are atomic spiritual sparks. They have the qualities of thinking, feeling, and willing. Misuse of their relative independence, misuse of their relative independence volition is the cause of their averseness to Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna does not want to destroy the relative independence of jivas, because by that, the very purpose and existence of jivas will be destroyed. That's a very important point. That's why we're not just all getting bhakti all of a sudden, because Krishna will not destroy the relative independence of the jivas, because by that, the purpose and existence of jivas will be destroyed. Our independence is our wealth, Śrīla Bhakti Thakur says in that kirtan, right? So Sri Krishna and his devotees always try to advise jivas and make them understand so that they will submit to him willingly. Nothing's ever by force, it's by the jiva's own desire. We do not know when we have become averse to God, to our Supreme Master Sri Krishna. We do not find any date here. We have forgotten our relationship with Sri Krishna from time immemorial. When we become averse to Sri Krishna by misuse of our relative independence, the illusory energy, external material energy of Sri Krishna enveloped us. And since then, we have been passing through innumerable cycles of births and deaths. We reap the fruits of our own good and bad deeds. We should not blame others for the afflictions we get due to our own karma. Others may be instrumental, but not the cause. Wow, we should never see anything that anybody does to us or anything that happens to us. We shouldn't see that person as being the cause. They're just the instruments for me to experience what's due for me. The result of karma, prarabdha karma, which has started, should be suffered or enjoyed, whether he is an ascetic or a householder. Only Shuddha Bhakti or Shuddha Nam can destroy the fruits of even prarabdha karma. My love to you all. Affectionately yours, Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha. Jai. All right, so that is our reading for today. I'm very excited for our program tomorrow, where we can read more of this nectar of his glories and his instructions. So thank you so much for joining. Maybe we can end with a short kirtan, and then we will end. Oh, Haribol, Manjari Didi, and Nitai. I didn't see you before, Haribol. All right. And Shubhananda Bhu, Haribol. Oh, and there's so many devotees here. Champak Mataji. Okay, I'm not going to say everybody. Rasvi Hari Prabhu, Stanley Green, Hare Krishna. Okay, so here I will. Rukmini Didi, is there any particular kirtan that Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja was? I know that Jai Dao was like you would sing that all the time.
Radha Tata Kunja Kutira.
Okay, let's do that. Really, that's cool. That was like one of my Gurudev's favorite kirtans also. Okay, so big text. All right, I'm just opening up the file and I'll share my screen again. Oh wait, and let me turn on original sounds for musicians so you can hear the mridanga. Okay. Oops. Sorry, my word is really, it's so frustrating. My word's really messed up for some reason. Okay. Radha Konda Tata Kunjakutira Govardhana Parvata Yamuna Tira Kusuma Sarovara Manasa Ganga Kalinda Nandini Vipulataranga Vangshivata Gokula Dhira Samira Vrindavana Taru Latika Vanira Okhagamrika Kula Malaya Batasa Mayura Brahmara Murali Bilasa Venu Shringa Opadachina Meka Mala Vasanta Shanka Shanka Karatala Yugala Vilase Anukula Jani Lila Vilasa Udipakamari E sab chorata kahin nahi jao E sab chorata kahin nahi jao E sab chorata parana harao E sab chorata parana harao Bhakti Vinora kohe shuno kan Bhakti Vinora kohe shuno kana Tua udipaka hamara paran Tua udipaka hamara paran O Radha Kunda Tata Kunja Kutira Govardhana Parvata Yamuna Tira Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Jaya Radha Kunda Jaya Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Jaya Shama Kunda Jaya Giri Raja Jaya Govardhana Giri Raja Jaya Govardhana Jaya Govardhana Jaya Vrindavana Govardhana Jaya Vrindavana Jaya Navadvipa Jaya Mayapura Navadvipa Jaya Mayapura Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gora Hari Sachinandan Jaya Gora Hari Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Sachinandan Jai Gora Hai Jai Radha Nayananata Radha Nayananata Radhe Jai Radha Nayananata Radha Nayananata Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Bhakti Tīrtha Madhav Gosvāmī Jaya Shri Bhakti Tīrtha Madhav Gosvāmī Jaya Bhakti Ballabha Śrīla Tīrtha Gosvāmī Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Jaya Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Jai Guru Deva Guru Deva Guru Deva Jai Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Guru Deva Jai Guru Deva Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Oh Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Oh, and maybe tomorrow we can sing Jai Dao Jai Dao. um, there's such a beautiful video of him singing it. Like it like makes your hair yeah, when you see it, like makes you shiver. It's really. Anyways, well, I'll try to find that also, and maybe we
Well,
can watch that.
I've heard that people say that if they were in the kirtan with him, I think one of my god sisters said that that she found herself bouncing as if there was a spring and she had no idea how it was happening. So we were just so
automatic, like
ecstatically
she didn't know what was
jumping.
happening.
Just also ecstatically leaping.
Wow. Yeah, there's some amazing videos of him doing the one that I saw of that kirtan, that particular one, is like very slow and very dramatic, and it's in the West. It's a Nagar Sankirtan, and yeah, that word that was used to roaring, right? That you read in your biography of him. That was like a very appropriate word. It was like so powerful and like so straight from the heart. Really, it's yeah. Anyways, we can watch that tomorrow, and tomorrow is Ram Navami, so we'll hear the glories of tomorrow's Titi from Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja himself on his centennial appearance day. We'll read that chapter from his book Dash Avatar, and we'll also continue to read from this book, Sweet, Sweetest, Sweetest, Affectionately Yours, and anything else on the special day tomorrow. All right, thank you so much for joining. Rukmini Didi, would you like to do Jaidwani?
No.
Okay, I can do it.
Thank you.
Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai. Shri Radha Nayananatha Ju ki Jai. Jai Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Narayan Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Swāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Śrīla Gorkishora Babaji Mahārāja ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Mahārāja ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. To dear Shubha, the Adivas of his Vyāsa-pūjā Tithi ki Jai. Jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Tīrtha Madhav Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Pramod Puri Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Nitya Pravishram Vishwabad Śrīla Bhakti Rakshak Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. All the associates of Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Śrīla Baladev Vijibhushan Prabhu ki jai, Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai, Śrī Narottam Srinivas Ramananda Prabhu Trai ki jai, Śrīla Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad ki jai, Śrī Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Śrī Jeev Gopala Bhattadasa Raghunath Shard Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Śrī Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari, Śrī Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai, Namachay Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se Kaho Śrī Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Śrī Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Śrī Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradatta Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki jai, Shri Mona Devi Ganga Devi ki jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya ki jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai, Jai Shri Chaitanya Gaudiya Mat ki jai, the Agartala Mat ki jai, which he would, and all the services that Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja performed at that mat, which he wouldn't take credit for. Ki jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtana ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Also, Gokul, Global Organization of Krishna Chaitanya's Universal Love ki jai.
Jai! Jai! Such a clever acronym. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. And all the God brothers of Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. All the disciples of Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. And anyone who has any honor for Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. All his followers and everybody who holds him in esteem ki jai. Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Dandavat pranams. Satya Mataji and Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarini Mataji, Rukmini Didi, Shubhananda Prabhu, and let's see on YouTube and Facebook, there's Rukmini Didi, there's Rukmanjari Didi, and Nitai, and Vidyalalasa Didi, Kishore Prabhu, Stanley Green, Rasapriya Didi, Raspi Hari Prabhu, Bhakti Everyday, Champak Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, and many other devotees. Dandavat pranams. Thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to observing his actual Vyāsa-pūjā day, which is tomorrow, and Ram Navami Titi with all of you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Jai Shri Radhe Hari Bol. Jai Vaishnav Thakur ki jai.